And hi to our friends at Domination, dmntn.com. Go to domination.com today, and they'll be able to help you when you're comes to putting together all your content. Promos, commercials, all that stuff, domination.com, dmntn.com. Check them out today. Use them for free, and you'll keep using them for life as it makes it so much easier. It's AI for the content creator, domination.com. Doop doop doobie doobie doop doop doobie doobie doop doop doobie doobie doo. Hey everybody. Doop 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 doop.
I'm actually getting people complain when we're not on time. Like when we do.
I know.
Time. I had a bunch of people today texting me going, "What the hell's going on?"
So weird. We've been doing this now for a few months, and I get people like, "It's 3:00. Where are you?" I'm like,
"Yeah, I get that.
Having coffee?
I get that all the time because we're usually late."
Listening to jazz.
Everybody.
I'm blaming Dean.
Welcome. My name is Dean. This is the program. You're here for a reason, obviously. That's Chris Rook. He's our head of production. He's also my friend, so that's why he's here. Lock and Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM. He's underneath me, so I'm going to put him over here. Chris, I want you under me. I want to be on top.
That's what she said.
There you go. Ooh, you like that. And James D. Fiore, ladies and gentlemen. There you go.
How you doing?
Juicebox James.
I have to apologize because if you usually watch us on YouTube, we're not on it today.
Yeah.
And the reason we're not on YouTube is we got suspended. We got suspended from YouTube. Now, if I told you, and I wasn't Dean Blundell, if I said to you, Locke, hey, would you be surprised if someone named Dean Blundell got suspended from YouTube? What would your answer be?
I would say no. And then it would be a fun game to play to find out why we got suspended from YouTube.
That's what we're doing. This is a new feature. It's called, because I'm sure it'll happen time and time again. It is called, why did we get suspended from YouTube this time?
I don't even know.
I know the answer, so I can't play.
Okay,
Chris
I think
play.
I know too. So let's let James play.
I think my first guess for some reason is that Sherry chick, and that we were spreading bad COVID info.
Oh, ding, ding, ding,
wow.
ding, ding, ding. I thought you were going to say.
That is unbelievable.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say Flair in the ass guy.
That still smells like that still smells like my poo because I pulled it right out of my bum.
Yeah, I thought you were going to go for the British dick.
Wow. I'm so happy we didn't have to do that for 5 minutes.
British ball sack.
I arrived at that just because I know a lot of shit has been taken off because of COVID misinformation. So I just put it in that category. Yeah. So the algorithm finds, like, they transcribe with voice recognition, and then the algorithm captures keywords and phrases, and then they just make the decision on that, don't they?
No, not at all,
really?
Actually. No.
Oh, they should do it like
Interesting.
that.
I'm going to turn up the classical music so I can tell you a really fun story. Why we were suspended from YouTube this time. We had Sherry Strong on last week. Nice lady. Used to be super fat, lost a bunch of weight. Now she's like a health expert. Nice hair, pretty good rack. But YouTube hated her. And it wasn't YouTube that hated Sherry Strong. You know who hated Sherry Strong?
Lachlan.
Antifa. And the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. They complained that we had her on. And so through those complaints, they had that video taken off.
What the fuck?
Taken off of YouTube. And here's the best part.
That's weird.
Also, were suspended for 1 whole week. One of 3 community guidelines
strikes. Your content was removed due to the violation of our community guidelines. So you won't be able to do anything like upload, post, or live stream for 1 week, 7 days.
Did you appeal it?
So, yeah, you can appeal it, right?
Out of it, yeah.
How this affects your channel. Your channel now has 1 strike. We won't be able to upload, post, live stream for a week. 2nd strike, prevent you from publishing content for 2 weeks. 3rd strike, 90 days. Do it again, you're removed.
What if the appeal comes back that it wasn't that there wasn't our fault?
I'm trying to read.
He's reading his PowerPoint. Leave him alone. Yeah. Go ahead, Dean.
95% of creators who get one strike never get another one. We want that for you too. So please.
Oh my God.
Make sure you understand YouTube's community guidelines and strikes basics. Review your content with our policies in mind. If you, after reviewing your content, you think you made a mistake, let us know. You can appeal this decision here. Understand that this strike will expire after 90 days and that deleting the content will not remove the strike. Sincerely, the douchebags at YouTube. Now,
well, here's the thing that bothers me about that.
So
hang on. And I'll get to it in a second. We had Sherry Strong on, who was anti-vax. And for an hour, I questioned her motives and said everything she said I didn't believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We challenged the disinformation. That's why we had her on.
Yes. And because we had her on and had that conversation, we've been suspended.
And that's frustrating.
Nice, huh?
So, Rook, when you appeal that, is there a box in the appeal process where you're allowed to say, hey, this is what we did? If you actually took the time to watch the content, which you might not have time to do, but I'm letting you know that we've been unfairly removed based on what our attempts were. We were attempting to dispute this woman's claims.
Yeah, there's a box, and I appealed it, and that's what I put in the box, and I gave them till 5:30 to appeal it, and it's 5:44, so nothing yet.
Is the box labeled fuckery? Is it labeled fuckery?
It just says tell us why we got it wrong. Much like
the answer is fuckery. That's the answer.
So I appealed.
It is fuckery.
But you know it'll get overturned.
For real though, we see this shit all the time on like certain channels, right? Like we see this with Brett Weinstein because he talks about the lab leak theory a lot, and I think Rogan gets it sometimes or used to when he wasn't on Spotify because of trans stuff. But like it's weird when it happens to you because, especially in this context, because we were actually, like you said, challenging this woman's viewpoint because we thought it was kind of bad shit too. So YouTube doesn't have it scratches too shallow and it doesn't actually peer into the context, I guess. Had
someone not complained, Jamesy, had we not, like, we were targeted by protesters, people that don't like having these people on to have a conversation. So this woman's anti-vax. So the vax community or the Antifa community, which we will get into later, because the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is just a hate network. They put anti in front of it for fun. But the people involved in that organization, they do, dude. It's just like, hey, put anti in front of it and see how it works. Oh, yeah, now people think we're legit. You're not. Just a bunch of fucking losers that use it to smear people. And we'll get into it with Karima because that's what they've done to Karima, and she's going to join us here, I would say, in about 10, 15 minutes. But those are the people that are like actively trying to get us deplatformed for debunking anti-vax stuff on this very show, just to have this person on to debunk, to not mock, but to set straight, to further the conversation about why people should get vaccinated, and everybody should get vaccinated. I've been fucking swinging the vaccine banner like an idiot for the past year and a half. Get vaccinated. As soon as we found out we get vaccinated. Like I've driven people, thousands of followers I've lost that don't believe in that stuff. Don't care because I know it's the right thing to do. So we do it and we get dinged by YouTube.
We were shining a light on the hypocrisy from the other side, right? Which I think needs to happen more. Ignoring it just creates a fire. It just creates more dissension. It creates more separation. It's why I don't think people should be blocked on social media. I've said it countless times. I think on this podcast, I've also said it on my show. I mean, I understand the difference between what Trump did and other people who have been blocked on Twitter and other social media. He started an insurrection. People died. I get that, but I still not sure it's helping.
That's a weird asterisk. That's like a Barry Bonds home run record year. You know, like it's just like there's an asterisk there somewhere.
There is.
Can I just say two things really quickly? One is that isn't it hilarious that the people that complained about us probably have similar views to us as we do regarding the vaccine. That's the first thing. And the other thing is, I'm just, as far as Antifa goes, I'm just sort of tickled pink to know that squeegee kids have stuff to do on their limited downtime. You know?
That's what they are. That's what they are.
None of this
That's
is
what we're
helping.
dealing with here. Oh, fuck, I love it though. You know what I said the other day? Because like I've spent a long time really trying to not get in fights, like a long time. I don't like fighting. I don't like fighting people online because I watch people fight online. It's like being the smartest person in the group home. It doesn't count, right? It just doesn't. So, in my opinion, now that we're in this game and we've got this business and we've got a massive podcast network and a podcast that does what it does, my opinion on things have changed. Like when we get suspended from YouTube for legitimately doing work to improve people's information and educate people about why they should get vaccinated. And then I know the people from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network and all the fucking cretins that are involved in furthering their bullshit. And I know it's them because they've told me it's them. I'm not going to post any of the tweets because there's no point. I'm not going to fucking make anybody famous or do anybody any favors. But they definitely have my attention now. I am all in. I am all in, and I am going to burn it down.
Starting
and defense. It is going to be my fucking pleasure.
Place at the table.
Because like I was thinking about it, Karima said this to me the other day, Locke. She's like, well, what if they come after you? And Chris said this to me on the phone today. What did you ask me? It was a fucking question. I can't remember what it was.
He said, be careful.
Yeah. He says to me, be careful. Have you watched me go through what I went through? What on earth are those people going to do to me that already hasn't been done?
It was an excellent
that
response.
I've soaked up and that I've enjoyed and I've lathered myself in like an 18-year-old schoolgirl.
That's going to help.
I live. I don't care. I live my amends every single day. Right. I live the truth because that's what's important to me. So knowing that these guys are after Karima, and we're going to get to her in just a second, and knowing what they've done to kind of separate us from content or prevent people from talking, now I'm going to go the complete opposite direction, and I'm going to feature as many of those people on this program as I can. You know why? Because I love it. I'm into it. I love a good fight. I didn't want to get into one, but if they're going to fight with us, let's fucking fight. And let's have a great time doing it. And then at the end, when I unload all 4 terabytes of information that I got from my friend Brian, who's been studying Antifa and the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, who's a Canadian veteran and part of a group of 7 researchers that know everything about this guy, we're just going to continually leaf this stuff out. And then we'll leaf more stuff out. And then at the end of it, we're going to have a conversation about what that network is and what a fascist is, because that's what I really want to fucking know now. Who are those people? And James isn't wrong when he says they're squeegee kids. They are. That's who they employ in this movement.
Do they have any political?
Absolutely.
Hushpa? James?
And here's the great part.
No.
These guys are funded by the Liberal Party. No, they do. They are funded by the Liberal Party.
Because I had heard that.
Funded. They are. Stephen Guilbeault, eco-terrorist, is deeply involved in this
language terrorist.
Deeply. Yeah, language terrorist, eco-terrorist. Yeah. English and French language terrorist. Yeah. He's deeply involved in this. So getting back to C10, you know where it comes from, right? Came from them. They want to communize the way we talk, the way we speak. So that's why they come after people like Karima, because they use her as a tool, trying to use us as a tool. These guys have sucked our D's for the past 2 years for press. Do you know how many tweets I got from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network going, here's some information about this guy. You should get it out there. Here's some information about that guy. That's how they use people. I'm not going to get used. So we're going to come after you, and I'm going to fucking burn it all down, and it is going to be a great time.
This Antifa guy, I'm in. I'm totally in. This Antifa guy a couple years ago, I don't even remember the situation.
I'm not smart enough to fight. And I'll be honest. I watch. I'll enjoy it, but I'm just gonna crack a beer, right? It was kind of like I tell you, I took my dog for a walk today, and we were running through this one field he really, really likes, and I wasn't really paying much attention to him because I was on my phone because my phone was buzzing, and I got a long leash for him, like this 30-foot leash, and he's running around. And then I look over and I'm like, what are you doing? And I walk up to him, and he is rolling around in the carcass of a dead bird.
Oh yeah, they do that.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is a lot like what Dean was. This is Dean. Dean is now rolling around in the carcass of a dead animal and loving it.
Called
because
Antifa.
My dog was loving it.
Yes.
And I sat there and I'm like, what do I do?
Enjoy it.
He's having too much fun. Do I pull him out? Yeah. He's just going to bite me if I grab the, So I let him have his fun.
Be careful.
He dry humped the shit out of that bird. And then I threw him in my car. And now I got to wash my car.
Does anyone else have like any run-ins with Antifa before this? Because I have a few.
Nope.
One time, I don't remember what it was about because it just like, who knows? Like I block it out because they're just such twits. But they, this one guy on Twitter, I was saying some stuff about a bunch of his friends or something, and it was the protest that they went to in Hamilton where they were the ones that were the physical aggressors, and then everyone started fighting. The guy on Twitter, he's like, "This is your final warning. Stop tweeting about us." And I said something snarky. He emails me a screenshot of my screen, like with the tabs up top that I had open, like my Gmail, YouTube, Twitter, whatever. And the time was like 3 minutes before he sent it to me. I didn't see anything. I didn't notice anything. And I literally was like, okay, this is crazy. I don't even know what to do. So I called a lawyer guy that I knew, and he called a private investigator, and I don't even think they did anything, but the guy never did anything after that. So my point is that they are squeegee kids and stuff, but they're like vandals, right? Like they're not like the guy sent me a screenshot of my own screen. So he proved to me that he can get into my computer for whatever reason. So,
did that worry you because of your browser history? Like, did you have anything there that you're like, oh man,
never mind the browser history. You should see the files I have related to the browser history. Jesus Christ. I don't know how to, I don't know how to encrypt that kind of content.
I can help you.
Yeah.
Rook.
Anyways.
When you're done with him, Rook.
Yeah. Help me.
Give me a
Take the Bluetooth function off of Luck's phone, please.
I actually turn that off when I'm whacking off with my phone now.
Well, you do now.
So it have it attached to a clapper. Just like turn it off like that.
So that
it would turn on and off.
An issue with when his wife got in the car that one time and he was giving it a pull watching porn in bed, and it played on the car stereo when she was pulling out of the driveway.
I was listening to it, watching it, and then it just went quiet. I'm like, what the hell?
I've seen your wife. She's beautiful. So hopefully you weren't searching for barely legal blondes or something like that.
Did she say anything to you when she got in the car and went to the grocery store and just heard moaning and pounding?
I can't remember what she said.
Was it a Jerkmate commercial?
She said something about listen, I know you I know you whack off, and I know you do it a lot, but I don't want to hear it.
Did she say I know you do it a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Put her in, coach.
I remember telling her one time we had a conversation about whether or not if we had sex more than, and I enjoy when it does come around. I mean, if I'm being honest, if it came around more often, I'd be more happy about that. But
you probably wouldn't be masturbating as much as you do, right?
Why don't you come around twice?
Correction.
I mean,
when she said, if it did come around more often, would you wank it less? And I'm like, I could lie right now.
Wank.
No.
Wank it.
But we've been together a long time, honey, and I'm thinking you'd see through my lie.
This dick isn't going to wank itself, baby.
That's fucking awesome. You have a relationship like that. Where she says, if I give you more sex, will you masturbate less? And you have to deliberate for a second. I don't think so, but
I got a schedule, baby.
And hi to our friends at Domination, dmntn.com. Go to domination.com today, and they'll be able to help you when you're comes to putting together all your content. Promos, commercials, all that stuff, domination.com, dmntn.com. Check them out today. Use them for free, and you'll keep using them for life as it makes it so much easier. It's AI for the content creator, domination.com.
I am nothing if I'm not honest.
You are got a message from Antifa already. I don't even know how they're getting us because we're not even streaming on YouTube, and our numbers are fucking huge today because we got suspended for doing good work.
Okay, here's the
you're going to reference the Hamilton. Please provide context.
Okay, from what I remember. By the way, I'm not, like, he makes it sound like I'm like raising flags for whatever protester, but from what I remember, it was right wingers versus left wingers, and when they got there, the left wingers started walking towards the right wingers because the right wingers were making them feel unsafe, so they drew first blood. That was basically it.
And you pointed that out.
I pointed that out because the footage came out. It clearly demonstrated that.
What James does, he tells the truth. It doesn't matter what side it is.
I could give a fuck what side.
Yeah, if the left or the right are making a anyway.
Really, I couldn't. That guy poked the chest first. There you go. There's the instigator.
Dude,
right?
Do you know? Oh, Dr. Mario's not going to join us yet. He's got a new baby, by the way. Congrats, Doctor. He had a little baby named Alyssa. So Dr. Mario will join us next week. Good work. Like that doesn't exist. Like, and someone was asking me today, they're like, how have you guys been able to carve? I did an interview, and it's a long story. I hope to never see it. I don't want to even talk about it. But I did an interview today, and they're like, how have you guys been able to, find footing? Like, call it what you want. And I said, I think generally because we tell the truth. Like, I think generally speaking, we kind of, that's where we live, and we don't really give two fucks about, what side the truth is coming from. We think critically, and that's what we look for. We look for honesty, we look for the truth, and then we figure it out, right? And that's why we do the content that we do. That's why this is important to me. That's why going after the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is my job. That's why sticking up for people like Karima or anybody else who's been attacked by these people is so much more fun for someone like me, because that part of me gets activated. The Dean, I say Dean 2.0, Dean 1.0 lock.
Yeah. We've had that conversation.
Activating Dean 1.0 is like masturbatory to me, because I live this muted life of like not going all in, not fighting people. And I said this earlier, I'm really excited for the future because of this. I really am.
I maintain that you should keep a little of that, because
but it scares me.
It's fine. It's fine. None of us are going to go get your car for you.
Just be careful.
I don't know. Is Karima there? Can you hear us, Karima? You got us? She should be popping in anytime. Is she there? Can you monitor her? Karima, can you hear us?
I can.
Oh, no. She's going to join us. And we're going to talk about, what she's been going through. But before we do that, do you remember the confused Asian Nazi we had on the program yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah.
You weren't here, James. Did not see this. This is crazy. It's crazy footage.
Seen it, James?
No, I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Was he a supply teacher? I don't know. What was going on?
No.
Tiny belt. Okay. Tiny belt.
No.
Yeah.
A little belt. Tiny.
I got a wee belt.
No, this guy, I'll play the video for you. This guy's running around attacking Jewish people, and he's an Asian dude. He's an Asian with a swastika on his chest, and I'll get to that.
You think he might have missed?
Hi, Jew. Hey, what's up? Not much. Jewish much? Proud of it. Proud of it. You like your history, right? Look, I'm still standing.
They caught him.
What's the point of that?
Yeah. His name's Michael Park, 32-year-old Asian Nazi.
Proud member of the Arrington Heritage Front. Look at him.
Confused Nazi.
Yeah, very, very confused.
Very. And the good
people
news.
spent too much time alone in the last year.
The good news. You see this tattoo? You remember we had Rob on yesterday, Locke, and he was like, "That looks like it was drawn by Sharpie."
Yeah.
They caught
like
this guy
from here.
They caught him today, and indeed, that is not a tattoo. That was drawn on by Sharpie.
Oh God.
I wonder if he did it himself, because if he did it himself, that's pretty decent. That would have had to have been a left-hand job.
Kind of wish it was a left tape.
Maybe he's left-handed.
Yeah. He's probably right-handed.
Right over the heart.
Right.
I don't understand.
It looks like his nipple is going crazy.
Does he not know what the symbol means? Like,
I don't think so, James.
We're Nazis. Like, I hate everyone except for white people and Chinese people.
No, that dude. Toronto police said there were 2 incidents where this guy targeted Jews last week. First incident occurred downtown in a park. Police were called to a disorderly person, which was him yelling anti-Semitic slurs, and then he attacked a couple of other people. The 33-year-old, his name is Michael Park. He was arrested yesterday by Toronto police. He has punched several people several times, according to the police. Quote, the man was yelling anti-Semitic slurs towards a group of people. That's when we moved in. So, yeah, they got him. They got the confused Asian racist.
I wonder if he's like legit like schizophrenic or something, because none of this makes any sense. You know what I mean?
That's got mental illness.
A Sharpie swastika on a Chinese guy claiming to be a Nazi sounds a little schizophrenic to me. Like, it just
bit. Yeah, he does have a look. He does have that sweaty. I haven't had my medication that I normally take look. Right.
Awesome. Well, good work, TPS. That's great. You got him. Karima rules, ladies and gentlemen. Karima Saad is here. Karima, the lovely Karima, my friend Karima. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you doing?
We're good. We're good. Your hair looks very fuzzy today. You got fuzzy hair.
It's nice and warm outside. Yeah.
Humid. Yeah, mine does. Did you go get a haircut? You got a pandemic haircut?
I did. On Saturday, I got a haircut.
Looks nice. Looks really good.
Thank you.
You're great.
It's
great
fuzzy.
to see you.
I got to hit the beard soon.
Oh, do you?
A little long, yeah.
That's great.
I
gotta get the back right in the middle, down by the tailbone. That's where I gotta get mine. It's hard to reach.
I'm about a week away from a de-Wookieing too.
Was your wife gonna give you a shave?
Well,
That's
she shaves my head, but I de-Wookie myself, where I knock down, like, I strip down naked in the downstairs bathroom and just.
How you doing, Karima?
Put, like the three blade on her.
Anyway, Karima's here. Now, listen, the reason why Karima's here is last week she tried to do a thing with Chris Sky that got basically power bombed by Antifa, and there was a bunch of different I guess agents and agencies involved, but she was trying to do a Q&A, but it has presented itself now, and the people behind that ruined it from Antifa, the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. We'll get to that in just a second. But they wrote a hit piece about Karima yesterday or a couple days ago. And I just want to read this. This was about Karima. She told me about it. She said, this is just the worst part. I'm not going to put the whole thing up. This is from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, the people fighting hate. And Karima, who's done nothing but advocate for vaccines and done nothing but advocate for people to do the right thing for the last year and a half, has been absolutely targeted by this group and all the other loser tentacle people that are involved in this as well. This is from the actual article. Saad has been parroting anti-fascist talking points. We more commonly associate her with the far right. She repeatedly describes them as violent militant, shares the unsubstantiated claim they brought weapons, and complains that the anti-racists have censored her. She also has been retweeting Rebel News and Sokatcha himself. This is Chris Sky. This is in reference to the whole thing getting canceled last week. Her statement deflects all responsibility for the violence into the anti-racist demonstrators. This doubling down has led to further backlash on social media. Many accounts engaging with Saad were reportedly blocked. The office of Saad threatened to file a complaint with the Law Society of Ontario when Dave Shelnut, I don't know who the fuck that guy is, asked Saad by DM why chosen to boost Rebel News reporting. So this was just a bit of the hit piece. I won't get into the rest of it. But Karima, can you kind of just bring us up to speed? Because you have been a tireless advocator for people getting vaccinated, the freedom of speech. You go and try to do this event, and it gets power bombed. Take it from there and kind of explain what happened, and then who's targeting you and why.
So that's a lot to unpack. I guess I want to start by saying that I fully acknowledge I'm not beyond reproach. So a lot of what I have put out on social media has been construed as defensive or evasive or aggressive. And I am the first to admit that things like went really sideways in a bad way on Saturday. The intent of the event, I think that is probably important to start with. And road to hell, good intentions, all of that. But this wasn't a frivolous, let's give Chris Sky a microphone and ask his opinion about Jews, because that's what, has been done to him in other interviews. And that's the type of interview that he's used to. But what I put together was a program that had some comedy. And if anyone knows anything about the work that I do, humor and comedy is a big part of it. So there was to be some topical reference to anti-mask and Chris Sky stuff, but not overwhelmingly. It was really just ordinary sets to kind of bring people in a good mood, because, I believe that laughter is medicine. So that was the intent there. And then it was going to segue into 2 interviews that would be contrasting interviews. So the first person lined up was Pastor P. Dai, who is a local elder in the Chinatown, Kensington community. He works primarily with Chinese refugees, but also convicted people, homeless people, and he has sort of a various charitable things that he does, and is just a really fascinating person who himself has encountered a lot of adversity, having come to Canada, experienced a forced labor camp in China. So he's really the epitome of when anti-maskers kind of say things like China, or, this is communism, or this is oppressive.
Yeah, have a guy that worked in a work camp in China comment about that.
Right. So, and
I see where you're going.
This wasn't being spoken either. Like, he was really looking forward to the opportunity to say his piece in this context. And to be clear, the audience was mostly hand-selected. Entirely hand-selected for who the audience would be. And, there was an expectation that some additional people might show up and might try to stay in the plaza. But we had sort of plans for that. What I didn't have plans for, and I'll get to this in a moment, was a blockade that used and relied on physical intimidation to stop us from going ahead. So anyway, the interview was supposed to be with Pastor Dai, and then 15 minutes out of a 2-hour program would have been me talking to Chris Sky. And I appreciate, I think, that people have a lot of concerns about platforming, and there's a nuanced discussion to be had there. But at the end of the day, what I need people to understand is that the totality of the show was a form of political expression. And it was advertised and billed in such a way that, I appropriate wrestling culture all the time in the work that I do, including in this. And I think that sort of that flippant approach put people off and kind of made some people concerned about what would happen. The initial reaction, I would say, was overwhelmingly positive. And that's true from both sides of, I shouldn't say both because we're fractured in many different ways, but it was true from many different camps. Now, there were also people who were not happy or did not like this idea. And I think that 2 sort of forces converge simultaneously, and I don't know to what extent they intermingle. But on the one hand, there is a co-tenant in the mall who, so this is all happening not just randomly in Chinatown. Like, I have a store in a courtyard, and last year I threw 28 comedy shows from that store. So I wasn't putting together an event that I've never done before. This was essentially the same setup, just with a different cast of characters.
Twist. And if I could just kind of pop in here too, To further what Karima's saying, for listeners that are people watching, listening, if you're listening on YouTube, not YouTube, sorry, because we got suspended for doing God's work, whatever. But if you're listening, Karima's got this thing called 420 Cannabis Court. She's also the executive director for NORML, which is a cannabis advocacy group, right? So she's been doing this thing. This was part of her series, a summer concert series, and this was going to be her first one. And she invited Chris to be part of it because she basically had the guy deplatformed, so she wanted to have a conversation. Now, what Karima is getting into, right, what she's getting into now is the people that showed up to prevent not just that conversation, but to create havoc and to create terror prior to the actual event going off, which they did. This was all over the news. Blog TO, the Toronto Star, the Toronto Sun. I mean, this was all over. Karima's there trying to have a conversation.
Media as well. So I got to the mall the next day, and all my neighbors were like, "What happened yesterday?"
Got a puzzle. That's the best.
You should start
I think
doing puzzles.
the girls have done this one a couple of times. Just DM me your address.
Yeah.
Karima, you should make puzzles out of your cartoons that you do. You should turn them into puzzles. That'd be great.
But Karima and we've been on the phone for the last 2 days for hours talking about this because it goes that deep, right? So these protesters show up. Who's Morgan Yu? And how did the Canadian Anti-Hate Network end up publishing a hit piece on a female lawyer of color that has been doing nothing but trying to bring light to this community as conspiracy laden, that's done nothing but fight on behalf of people who believe in science, who's done nothing but you're having this guy on that you deplatformed. You had him
that was the irony. Everything came full circle. But not everyone saw it that way. So I don't take shield behind the fact that I'm brown or Muslim or a woman, because that's sort of it obviously affects who I am and what I do, but it doesn't it doesn't provide some sort of immunity.
No.
So Morgan is someone who I came to know through attending these rallies, and he was also there as a journalist.
This is the guy that wrote the hit piece about you. This is the guy that wrote this piece that we read where he calls her anti-fascist and a bunch of other
previously had some good interactions on Twitter. There was we met because I got footage of this lady who was really violently arrested, and she was one of the few Asian protesters, one of the weeks in Chinatown or Kensington. And she basically just got pulled into an unmarked car. So I had this footage, but didn't follow the cop car and was concerned about this woman. So it asked online, does anyone know who she is? And he had interviewed her at some point. So through that, I was able to kind of do some inquiries and make sure that everything was okay for her. So that's how we initially connected. It was over, an act of what I saw as solidarity, and the coverage of the rallies that he did, I thought was really insightful. And he was able to sort of interview and talk to people and get good information. And the lady who hit me with her poster, he happened to kind of catch her after the fact and basically get her 2 cents about what happened. And it was just fascinating. So, he was someone who strongly disagreed, I think, with me wanting anything to do with Chris Guy. And in the days leading up to the event, there was a change in sort of the way that our accounts interacted, and it became, Karima's not even an artist. She doesn't draw her comics. Why are we stealing why are you writer? The underappreciation of artists? And the reality is that if anyone thinks for half a second about the amount of shit that I get, my comics don't want that level of heat. They are illustrators, and enjoy what they do and are aligned with what I do, but don't need that kind of smoke. So, they're all signed. I'm not robbing any, and it's right there on my FAQ. It's right there. I'm not shy about admitting that, but half the genius of the comics is the idea and the concept and the imagery behind them, and that's me. So
can I make an observation?
Yeah.
You seem really rattled by this. Is that a fair? Like I've never met you in person, but I've been on this podcast with you multiple times.
I'm trying to sound cool and collected right now. Shit.
Yeah, but you do seem like you're very bothered by what happened.
Agitated. I'm definitely agitated, and okay. I'm upset, and I feel foolish in some ways. I feel betrayed in other ways. I feel like I'm at fault in some capacity. So there's a lot to sit with. Absolutely.
Do you feel like if you had been able to get through the entire plans of the day, like you said, you had this all blocked out. It was supposed to be 2 hours. You had sort of a plan. Do you think if people would have been able to see, if you would have managed to push through, do you think there would have been a little less backlash than what you got?
I think there would have been more backlash, because I think part of it is a resistance to wanting to have that at all. And so if I had been successful in subverting the notion of platform, I think that would have upset certain people even more. I don't know that for a fact, but I know that for everyone else, it would have been one hell of a show. Like, I had a very tight show put together, and this is why we can't have nice things, because we don't
and they prevented
others to do what we do in our lanes, and the notion that this was somehow an inherently harmful event, I disagree with, because for months on end, you had these parades happening literally in Chinatown, Kensington, and there was not this, there was upset, but there wasn't armed blockades. So that doesn't really make sense to me. That doesn't track. I don't think that a comedy show, and particularly one that's been designed as a form of political expression, is one that warrants physical intimidation. And
that's what happened, right? That's what happened. We get back to Morgan Yu real quick. Morgan Yu, who worked for the Canadian Anti-Hate Organization, still does, pens a piece on Karima being an alt-right agitator and basically a fascist and a racist. And
I don't know the extent to which they're connected, right? Yeah. I don't know if he just took the photos, if he wrote the article, what happened.
I know.
He was definitely there.
He clearly looked like a racist.
Really racist looking. Jamesy, can you weigh in here, please?
Yeah, because I think Karima, you're experiencing what those of us who aren't who don't label themselves as being part of the left, more of a moderate, lean left here, maybe lean a little bit right there. But we see it all the time, that circular firing squad among left-wing groups. And you're just the target right now for it, right? But the important thing that I think you should remember is that all of the arguments that this person made against you are childish. They're talking about you because you retweeted Chris Sky. So what? Was the information that you retweeted something that you thought was true? Who cares? It's the idea behind it, not the person that originally tweeted. It doesn't matter. These are so meaningless when at the end of the day. And the other thing they said you tweeted some Rebel News thing. So they're doing this guilty by association. They know you're not a right-wing agitator. They disagree that you should have brought Chris Sky to the event. And that's fine. They can disagree. But this idea that they can then, go to the wedding and flip the cake over and act like they did something amazing is bullshit. Does any of them know that Antifa used to fight Nazis and Mussolini and military coups in Spain and South Africans? That's what Antifa was. Now it's like calling yourself a cowboy, but only having that stick that you ride around the lawn with. You know what I mean? But you're still calling yourself a cowboy. They're not Antifa. They're just a bunch of kids that like, I don't know, they have wild imaginations. I don't think you did anything wrong. I don't think you have anything to apologize for either. That's the most important thing. So
yeah, Locke.
Karima, and maybe somebody else can help me out here. So they're calling you a fascist?
Yes.
So
well, sort of. They're saying I'm saying anti-fascist things. So I suppose two negatives makes a positive, but what do I mean about
so now if they want to shut you up and they want to shut people up that they don't agree with, isn't that a form of fascism?
It is fascism.
Yeah.
If you boil down the Canadian Anti-Hate Network and the people that they're involved with Antifa, if you really boil it down, it's called air fascism. I had a long conversation with a guy named Brian yesterday, who's part of this group of 7 researchers. They're all Canadian veterans, and they sent me today, beautiful. I was golfing, so I haven't been able to go through it all. 4 terabytes of information about not just Antifa, but the Canadian Anti-Hate Network that employs hatred as a strategy, which you can clearly see in this tweet that Karima got yesterday, and this one, and this one. This one's my favorite. She just put this out today. This person is a dick-swinging member of Antifa and answered the bell from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. So, and they all work together, all of them. They sent this to Karima. I want Captain Crunch from Antifa. Time to expose your agenda. Debate me if you're chicken swinging crazy, you fugly moron. Can I be at your next shit show event? Karma is on side with humans. Trudeau rapes kids and smokes pot like you. Sue me, cunt. That's one of thousands from people representing the
that
Canadian Anti-Hate Network. That is the most hateful shit I've fucking seen in my life.
Yeah, that's awful.
In my fucking life. That's Antifa awful. And the Canadian Anti-Hate Organization are nothing more than a hate organization. And guess who's at the front of this? Stephen Guilbeault. That I know. Stephen Guilbeault, the Heritage Minister.
Do we know that for sure?
Unpack 100%. That. I need to know. I need to know.
Even like that thing we just pulled up, like
which one?
The email, the Sumi cunt, which like people who were there are anyway. So what I've learned many things from Saturday, and one thing is that we can't really control other people, right? But we can do things that I suppose create situations that then have predictable results. So I don't want to. I don't know. This is really fucked up. And at the end of the day, I tried to run a comedy show, and even if someone disagreed with the way I was doing it, or who I was featuring, or how I was going about it, like we have mechanisms in society to adjudicate those kinds of disputes. And, one of them is not to sort of impose physical will, because a blockade can absolutely be a form of political expression. So was my show. And if only one side is physically intimidating and, using bikes as weapons, using other things as weapons, and that was like the observation that I had. That's the observation that I'm taking down in sworn testimony from reliable sources. So from people who I had invited to the event and whose word I trust, not just from sort of random people off the street.
These guys brought weapons. The Canadian Anti-Hate guys and Antifa brought weapons to that show that you were doing?
That is my understanding, yes. So I can't speak to...
Not very anti-hateful.
I can't speak to who had what. So there's a bowling ball that initially I believed was with the blockade, and it turns out it wasn't. Yeah. It's with some lawyer.
Turns out Pete Weber is an anti-fascist.
Professional bowler. Can I defend your
used as weapons? I have someone who's going to testify that they saw what looked like a baton or something inside of a sleeve, and I have someone who saw nunchucks. So that's like 3 things that I think are weapons.
Wow. I just imagine an Antifa guy using nunchucks, and it's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I will defend your strategy of putting Chris Sky on what was supposed to be a comedy show, because I find that guy fucking hilarious. Like he is such a clown that it's hard not to laugh at him. It really is.
Yeah.
And
But can I ask, Karima, isn't that why, like, getting back, I mean, we know Antifa and the Canadian Anti-Hate Network organized the blockade. We know they activated those losers. We know that, and I know this from people that I've talked to with TPS, and I know this because I've got a treasure trove of information, and we're going to unload this as we go. But the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, their whole goal, because they're liberally funded, is to smear people like Karima. That's their MO. That's what they do. And so that's all this is. But now it's to the point where it's fucking dangerous, right? Because we've got this young lady who I think the world of, and I think she's a superstar, and she's been doing God's work for the past year and a half. And the same people that are targeting her, actively targeting her events, her livelihood, her business, are the same people that say, come with us. We're the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. That is from this hit piece where they talk about her being racist and fascist and parroting alt-right talking points. That is from the Canadian Anti-Hate Network. Like, fuck, I'm in. They had me at hello. I am going to enjoy this. This is going to be a ton of fun for me. And then we're going to get Guilbeault out and Trudeau, who's involved in this. It is going to be a blast. And I'm the farthest thing from a conspiracy theorist. And that was the problem that I had with this conversation when we were talking to Brian and his group and Karima. He's okay. He said I can use his name. We were talking to Brian and his group. I'm like, send me everything you have. And as I started leafing through little bits of it, I came to the conclusion, which I think will bear out, that the Canadian Anti-Hate Organization is just an arm of the Liberal government meant to smear people, and they do it
really?
Absolutely.
Can you explain that? Can you explain that?
Yes.
Yeah.
They got a $250,000 funding given to them by Stephen Guilbeault from the Liberal government, the Canadian the same people who wrote this about our beautiful young intrepid reporter. The same people who wrote that got that funded to pay the guy who wrote it, who actively, his name's Morgan Yu, actively participated in the blockade. They get funding from the Liberal government, $250,000 about 2-3 months ago. I'll get the receipts for it when I go through it. But that was one of the things I read today, and that's rock solid. That is a fact. So, listen, I know Bernie Farber's associated with this. Ms. Simmons is. I got them all. I just got to fucking figure it out.
Is Kinsella part of it too?
I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't heard his name. Metcalf, who DM'd me today. Please leave me alone. Leave me out of it. This guy was fucking hilarious. Seriously. Oh, dude, I'll show you the text right now. That's what we're dealing with here. And as this stuff unfolds,
that doesn't sound like a legally good idea.
To what?
Post his texts.
Oh, I don't care. Dude, what are they going to do to me that already hasn't been done? Honest to Christ.
They're asking you not to mention their name, and then you're going to post the text where he's asking you not to mention his name.
Just change a couple letters so we know who you mean, but you don't really say his name.
No, his name's Kevin Metcalf.
I am no lawyer.
His name's Kevin Metcalf. Hang on a second. I'm going to get it for you right here. I'm looking for it right now as we speak. I know you're no lawyer, but this is important. This is really important.
I guess I want to reserve judgment before hearing and seeing more, because I grant I don't think is inherently, a lot of NGOs and organizations get grants. So I want to reserve like any sort of statement or judgment before knowing more.
You can. I don't have to, but you can.
Did Rebel News get a grant? No. I'm with fucking Dean. Let's burn it down.
Well, on the way back from the church,
pod, I am making a placard. I'll be in the streets of St. Albert. Fuck Antifa.
And I just see the comment here that people had more issues with the location of the event than the actual event. So I just want to make something like really clear. I have been at this is a mall. So I was hosting the event in a mall. And the mall happens to have an outdoor courtyard, which is quasi-public, ultimately private property, but is accessible to the public. I plan to host this event at the same time that I've always hosted events or generally have, which is around 9 p.m. And that is a deliberate time because at that time, the courtyard has been emptied out because there's no real seating there. Now there's a couple of tables post pre-COVID. But anyway, the courtyard's generally empty, like that area and plaza are generally empty. And there was a set capacity and limit of people. So I was bringing in someone, a guest to a show, as I've done many other shows. And it's literally in my store, and I had sort of the necessary authorization. So this notion of community voice and community sort of speaking up against it, in my respectful view, the most relevant sort of stakeholders are people in the mall and the board of directors. And there was a shoddy, but and kind of hard to follow because there's internal issues with administration and governance at the mall. But bottom line is that I had permission and go ahead. And even where other people in the community disagree and may feel that there's harm and may think that I'm an asshole for proceeding regardless, there are ways to protest that don't involve inviting violence that then erupts. And it wasn't just one side that was violent. Like Ron Banerjee was there fucking throwing punches. And like, there's a lot of people who are going to have to reckon with photos that I have and with video that I have and what I'm going to do with it, because I wasn't like bluffing when I said that there would be consequences for people who like misbehaved. And so that's in the works, and that's not something I'm going to be making public. It's just going to happen, and the people who are involved are going to know that it's happening. But
you know what's really funny about it all, though, is that the people that don't want people like yourself and people like Dean Laughlin and myself to give Chris Sky a platform go in droves to like protest the appearance of Chris Sky, and therefore gave him a line that day than he probably would have got otherwise.
Oh yeah.
So there's matter that he like beat Antifa because he jumped over like the barricade, which makes me regret sort of not being braver about confronting the barricade, because if he could jump it, like I'm probably twice as tall, so I could have done it too. But like
hey, sorry. I got
the gnome jumped it.
The gnome jumped it.
Now the narrative is that I've set him up with Antifa, which is not true because they hate me too.
But he's just Karima. He's going to say that to save face, right?
But he should have been able to say something like that, and that wouldn't have been the case if things had just proceeded. And
Karima, I know you're too nice to agree with me, but to be honest, love, honestly, like if you wake up one day and Chris Sky hates you and Antifa hates you, you're doing something right. You really
fucking
are.
Awesome. Let me just put this up. Yeah, this is the guy, Kevin Metcalf. This is the guy that, so I followed him just to like be a dick, right? Because the guy Brian told me all the players, so I followed all the players. This guy,
I was
Bernie
there.
Farmer, a bunch of other guys. So this guy tweets me when I'm like, "Hey, got a massive document dump on hate group antihate.ca, the Canadian anti-hate network. Next week's going to be a rip. You should probably subscribe to YouTube." Any wonder now why our YouTube channel's suspended, fellas? Like, fuck. So Kevin, who is one of the guys who helped start Anti-Hate, is he
a lawyer?
Much. I don't fucking care. When I was there when Anti-Hate was founded. Oh. I helped get Evan started. No idea who that guy is. He's a creep and a bad friend. I still won't support the guy who called anti-fascist terrorists in his quest to slight the org. I will comment publicly, give interviews about this leak after I see its contents. Dude, you are never going to see its contents until we publish it. That's the best part.
Drips and drabs, baby.
Lachlan, I don't know. Like, seriously, I might masturbate for the next 3 days straight while we're writing this bad boy.
We have a guest, you fucking assholes. What the fuck?
Oh, sorry. Pardon me.
Put your penis away.
Yeah. Thanks to our sponsors over at Easy Auto Financial, easyautofinancial.ca. Go there today. They'll set you up with financing and a car. Super easy to use, totally free of charge, no obligation at all. Easy Auto Financial gets you some financing for a vehicle, specifically if you got a hard time with financing. Year's been tough. EasyAutoFinancial.ca. Again, EasyAutoFinancial.ca.
I'm sorry, Karima. I'm sorry.
I'd like to bring up the puzzle idea again.
Okay, so Karima, do you know now
Needlepoint
that these people are just straight up lunatics? And do you know now that the Canadian Anti-Hate Network is just a hate network after they came after you? Like, do you get that part? Because originally when I heard about the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, I don't know if anybody else, hands up, I thought, oh, good. An organization that's just going to keep an eye on bad things. Great. That's great. Like, and I never thought about it until I got into it and they came after her and us because they called me a shock jock. And that's what really upset me. Despite both public privately concerns, organizers, including Toronto shock jock Dean Blundell, decided to proceed. At this point, they cite my tweet. At this point, any person or group interested in stopping conversations ought to be buried under a pile of elephant shit, Blundell wrote in a blog post.
That's actually a good line. I like that.
It's a good one. The effort any extremists make to prevent Karima from having a conversation with anyone she wants will be met with a face full of fuck you tonight. I don't know if I helped.
I feel
that was helpful.
I feel conflicted because I had, as I said, like many what I thought were constructive and productive conversations with various people who kind of are associated with that, and just how quickly and viciously people turned. I'm just, I know. And like, that's the thing, like, this has been formative in the way of, like, you can't, like, it has really shaken trust in a very deep way about kind of how we all are planning to, I don't know, make progress together or not, and just fall apart at the seams. That's kind of the meta I think that is happening with me right now. And I don't know. I feel this shouldn't have been a fight. I don't understand what people thought that they were accomplishing in doing this, and why they felt that their sort of voice or desire would be prioritized over someone who is directly a member of, as again, I think the relevant community, and community can be broadly defined or not broadly defined, but we have to resolve disputes in a peaceful way. And what happened was not peaceful. And it doesn't matter, in my view, who threw the first punch. Like, the initial intervening act of violence was one of my performers going down and saying, I'm here for the show, and him being told there's no comedy here today. Like, that's terrifying. Yeah. That was terrifying.
Mm-hmm. But that
was a chicken shit, to be honest. Like, I was like, trying to manage and do damage control from upstairs and figure out sort of coordinating with the security, and like, they felt trapped downstairs and trying to get police, and it was just, and I didn't even have the stomach to be downstairs because I felt like I was in like a gang fight with two sides that hated me. And it was like, that was that was my doing. And like, again, there are things that I would very much do differently, but
it's not your doing, Karima. It's not your doing. Yeah. We've talked about this privately. Like, this has, you're not accountable for idiots. These idiots showed up there on their own with an agenda, and you were just the flavor of the day, right? Yeah. And that's how Antifa works, right, Jamesy? Like, isn't that how they work? Where they don't care if it's someone who has helped them. If there's an opportunity, they will use that person to fucking be assholes.
There's a good possibility. I don't know who you spoke with, obviously, but there's a good possibility that one or two of them were being nice to you strategically beforehand, right? Not turning on you later, but always against you, but being nice to you at the beginning, because I know they'd like to do that kind of stuff. But look, like it flies in the face of everything that the left used to be about. Like, free speech is like, that term is now associated with like the far right, but it was really born at Berkeley. It was born because hippies were wanting to like talk about the Vietnam War and talk about civil rights and things like that. And then somewhere along the and then it was used by the right evangelicals to say no to rap music and Two Live Crew and NWA and all that. And now for some reason, like 35 years later, whatever it is, it's all flipped. And the right is like, well, we should be able to say what we want and not have restrictions. And the left is like, you can't have Ann Coulter on campus because for some reason that skinny bitch is going to make shit go wrong, like whatever the thing is. And it doesn't make any sense. So I think you're part of the classic left that understands that, you can disagree without having to try to shut somebody down because of what they're trying to say in public.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that I'm seeing from Karima is something that I think on a certain level, whether we're planning events or not, have all witnessed and have all had a level of frustration witnessing is this divide and this complete lack of any idea of how to bring people together. And it is frustrating. And
they don't want to be brought together, though. They don't want to be brought together.
That was the spirit of the show. You can laugh together. Not everyone finds the same things funny. That's fine. But there are certain things where you can't help but laugh. And it's corny, but it's also true. So I am really frustrated that it got shut down and censored. And I don't know why the word censored was in quotation marks there. I mean, probably because I said it and I was right. This was a form of political censorship and I didn't deserve that. It wasn't a Chris Sky rally. It turned into one because we couldn't have a show, but it wasn't set up as a Chris Sky rally. It was 15 minutes of, someone who cross-examines people for a living talking to Chris Sky. So what is wrong with you people?
Yeah.
They're fucked. They're mentally ill. That's the problem, is that they have nothing. Like the people that are involved on a Friday night to go down to a woman's comedy show and destroy it and cause violence, those are mentally ill fucking losers. They're degenerates from society.
People with mental illness. This is just...
No, but these are people who enjoy it.
Some kind of compulsion and killjoys, but
but they enjoy it, Karima. This is the goal. The goal has it's not about doing the right thing. The Canadian Anti-Hate Network and anti-fascism are never about doing the right thing. They're about the narrative. They're about using you to further the narrative, which is homogeny. That's all they want, pure homogeny, and they're not going to get it because they're fucked. And they use hate as a strategy to be able to get to people like you. Sorry, Locke.
I think people need to start realizing the hypocrisy, right? We need to start seeing it in ourselves, and we need to start highlighting it from other organizations, whether it's left or right, it doesn't matter. There's so much hypocrisy in the world that we live in, politically, religious hypocrisy. It's killing us. It really is. You can sit here and have a conversation. We could do this for the next 2 hours, and it's still going to boil down to these people are not letting somebody that they don't agree with talk. And they call people that have any difference of opinion fascists.
And they will fight you if you want to talk.
It's unbelievable that they don't see the hypocrisy in that.
Can we just also spotlight the fact that these are not brazen intellectuals with political acumen that think long term. These are none of those things. They're just they're
vandals.
Yeah, but I think they're also a little bit self-deluded into thinking that they're doing something. In the back of their minds, they must know that there's no staying power for them. They their arguments are childish. They don't, and I don't know, man. I think that it's on its face, Karima. They are the people who are wrong, right? Antifa is wrong. The anti-hate group is wrong. Chris Sky is always wrong. All you did was try to create a situation where civility among people who disagree could flourish. And look what happened. The people that have no interest in trying to dialogue with other groups came and spoiled the party because that's all they know how to do. There's no deep thinking.
It is childish. You're very right. That's an excellent way of putting it.
Yeah. Well, Karima, I say you start smiling a little more because you're right. You're telling the truth. Right?
Either that or start drinking. Do you do you drink or you're just on the old pot?
She loves the pot.
I'd recommend a good fucking wine night. Like
I'd recommend applesauce. Applesauce is good too.
Yeah.
You gonna sing your song?
Do I what?
James with his applesauce.
Yeah.
He's like a 3-year-old.
He's 7.
Look how small my
He has a sippy cup, apple juice, and he's gonna have some animal crackers and some cheese strings later, and a little bowl of Cheerios. Yeah, so he doesn't choke.
I have hot dogs in my filling the water over there.
We're okay because I put out a promo for Adam Scully, who now I think has bigger problems because he is locked out of one of his restaurant locations for owing $50,000. So we might, I don't know, we'll see when that happens. But it was a sick promo. You guys should watch it. And I can't tolerate being censored, so I'm going to find different ways to do what I want to do, and it's going to happen. Or I'm going to keep trying, or hopefully not die.
Generally speaking, a good strategy right now is to not tell the wingnuts where you're going to be doing your shit, right? Like that's kind of
put the address on the poster because that's what you do on a poster. But like, stupid.
Tell them
you
next time.
You could have fun.
Tell them you're having it at Remington's or the Manhole, a gay strip joint, or just a regular strip joint. Tell them you're going to be doing a variety night at Zanzibar. Yeah, absolutely.
They'll need to be double back
to the suburbs because that's where all these anti-maskers were coming from. So it's just like we're going to Stratford, everybody.
Well, listen. These 4 and our entire network, all 80 of us, are your fans, and I know this has come with some tears because I haven't because I don't cry. I know this has come with some emotion.
Bullshit.
But they're a joke. These guys are a fucking joke. They're a joke that I could unpeel in my sleep and serve up as the joke that they are, because they're not interested in making the world a better place. The greatest fruits of this life are kindness and the common good, and they're not interested in the common good. So the second someone does something untoward and says, fuck the common good, they're on your radar. They're on my radar as people who don't deserve to be part of the conversation. None of these people do. None of them. If you're preventing people from expression.
Good politics are useless if you do not start from the position of kindness. And I was not extended any kindness from a lot of people over this weekend. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, whatever you think about me or the event, there was something scheduled to happen in a mall where I have a store that I've done in the past, and I had permission to do it, and I had taken safety precautions, and everything was going smoothly until we couldn't actually go down and set up. So, that invited, in my view, the chaos that ensued, and the chaos involved a lot of people who are going to hear from me in the near future.
That's awesome. That's a threat. And I'm on board.
No, that's just, I'm letting people know that a lot of people are going to hear from me.
Good.
A lot of people.
Good. I'm all for it. I can't wait to report on it. I can't wait to watch these guys get frog marched emotionally. I think that this is something that we can do together, you and me. Told you on the phone yesterday, this feeds the dark parts of Diener. So I'm kind of geeked about it, right? Like I'm excited because if we bring receipts and tell the truth, you're fine. You got nothing to worry about. And the good news is I have in my possession 4 terabytes of truth. So let's have some fun with this. Okay, guys? We did good work today.
I'm in as long as I don't have to do much.
No, you just get to be you and have beers. That's it. That's the best part.
Some puzzles and you'll be fine.
Yeah. So thank you, Karima, for being here. And thanks for literally laying the truth on the table and sharing your truth and talking about what happened, because this is something that we're going to address, and it has my undivided attention. I'm excited. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Down the road, you'll look back on it, and it'll be something that you cherish that happened in your life. Trust me.
Oh, yes, that time there was a riot in front of my office.
I think it will be. It'll be something that you will maybe not cherish. That might not be the word, but you will look back fondly on.
Yeah.
And
you'll go, man, I can't believe that actually meant something to me back then, because those people are fucked.
At
Like,
the
that's
very least,
literally
it'll
where
be
I'm
a
at.
good story. It'll be a good story.
Oh,
at the very
yes.
Yeah.
Karima rules, ladies and gentlemen. Sadvocacy.com is her website. She is an advocate. She's a lawyer, and she's not fascist or racist, as you can clearly tell. So here's the receipts. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you, and I'll call you in a bit, and we'll decamp, okay?
Thank you.
Go
All right,
sue some
Karima.
people.
Yeah, let's fucking start launching lawsuits like fucking bombs. I'm not afraid of a good lawsuit either. That's how I shut people up.
I mostly
Green,
get
all these
sued.
homophobes, sued him. He shut right the fuck up. Someone else, I can't remember. Just give him to Rob. Hey, Rob, sue this guy. He's like, I'm on it.
It's going to be weird to be on the other side of one of those threatening letters because I usually receive them, right? Like, I got one from Peter Mansbridge once, and it was like, holy shit.
Did you keep that?
Oh yeah, of course. I'm gonna frame it. I think, but maybe I'll enlarge it.
You need
put
to
it on my wall.
frame that.
As wallpaper.
Lawsuit
I have
from
one
Peter
from,
Mansbridge.
I have one
What'd
from
you do to him?
what's that crazy girl's
No, we
name?
don't want to talk about it.
What's that crazy
What's that?
girl's name? That Lisa something, the Irish lady that's like now the provincial heritage minister.
Cloud?
Yes, I got one from her.
So the chick that got all bombed at that Rolling Stone show and told Eugene
yeah,
Melnick to go
that's the
fuck
one.
himself.
She went and she was canvassing before this election, and this girl called me and she's like, I have a tip. And I'm like, what's your tip? She's like, I just filed a report against Lisa McLeod for intimidation and assault. And I'm like, fucking right. Awesome. So I got the file and I got the police, the report number and everything. And I did this little story. I think it was for the Post Millennial at the time. This is like 2 years ago or something. And I get this letter from some lawyer representing Lisa McLeod saying that like she was going to sue me and do all this stuff. And I'm like, I got the fucking police report number. Like, how are you going to sue me? This is ridiculous. So then the charges were dropped and then her lawyer sent another letter. And then I found out that her lawyer was the person representing the Muslim League of Canada against Stephen Harper in federal court and all this stuff. So there's all these interesting caveats. But anyways, that was the long-winded way of saying I want to know what it feels like to give someone a threatening letter instead of always receiving.
Oh, no. This is how this whole thing is going to work. I'll explain it real quick.
Okay.
We're going to leak some information about some people and some strategies. And we're going to talk about it in the podcast. And then we're going to offer the same people who were sewering willingly the opportunity to talk about the sewering.
I have a question, Dean.
I like that.
Am I allowed to write a profanity-laced screed of some sort?
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah, for sure. Like this guy who helped start whatever the fuck it is. This guy, Kevin. I was there when Anti-Hate was founded. I helped get him get it started. He's a creep and a bad friend. I don't care if Kevin's a bad friend. I'm coming for you and him. It's going to be the best. We're going to have a blast, guys. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get like those little arm things, the arm floaty devices that you give babies and stuff.
Oh, I thought you meant something else than a shark.
Water wingies.
Water wings. I'm going to swim around in the pool of truth in water wings. That's what I'm going to do. Splash, swim around, and we're just going to see where the fucking chips fall. I'm not out to get anybody. I'm out to have a conversation. So we'll have a conversation. Well, I think the receipts will get them, but I just want to have the chat. Let's talk.
Well, that and your wildly vindictive nature.
I was golfing with these guys today, and they're asking me about this because they all follow us, and they're like, "Tell me about this." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna get after it a little bit. We're gonna have some fun." And I looked at my buddy Pete, who I've known for 20 years, and because he knew crazy drinking Dean 1.0, the guy that would stop at nothing to ruin somebody, nothing. And I'm like, this is my drug. It is. I'm gonna stick that spike of adrenaline in myself. And this thing is going to keep us busy for a while because I enjoy it. I love it because I've always, like, even as a kid, I remember some umpire, I threw a strike, called it a ball, and I whipped the ball back at him as hard as I could because it was unfair. That's how I've always been. I've never been different, but I've had to live
where
muted.
I thought that story was going. I thought you might have followed him home and like did something to his dog or something.
All that terrible stuff. It goes through my mind. I just never really did it. But the other stuff, game on. Let's have some fucking fun now. Okay?
Maybe you should make it clear to Antifa that you're not going to be like trying to dox people, like giving their home addresses and shit. Like that's not what you're talking about, right?
Oh, is this what someone says? What if someone gets seriously harmed from you doxing them? These people have already been doxed. I just got all the information.
But you're not going to give their. I think you should make it clear that you're not going to give their home addresses and actually dox them, right? Like that's not.
Am I an idiot?
Right.
No.
So I'm just wanting the brilliant mind of Antifa to understand that that's not what's happening. So.
This is Wade. I love Wade. Will it topple the government?
It will topple the. It will topple Gil Bo's department, maybe. Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's done. He's done.
I think we need to. If we got a starting point here, I'd like to see the proof that the Liberal government is behind these organizations, because I think that's an excellent start.
I will. Mm-hmm. I'll tweet it out tonight.
Yeah.
I'll tweet out the funding. And here's the great part. Stephen Guilbeault lost Bill C-10, Bill C-36, which Michael Geist told us about. Guys, call it the darkness. Do you remember that? Guilbeault's the one behind it. You know what's included in Bill C-36? If someone thinks that you might tweet something bad about them, they can throw you in fucking jail. That's in Bill C-36.
Like if I call Antifa a cunt right now, like you're a fucking cunt, Antifa, like that, I can go to jail for that. But what if Antifa's a cunt?
Yes. I don't know. You're just going to jail. And if you don't take the tweet down, you'll go to jail for a year. That's what they want.
Really?
Canadian anti-hate organization. Yes. Yes, sir. Abso-fucking-lutely.
That's Orwellian. That is very Orwellian.
Yeah,
that's all this is.
Yeah.
What's
that's
that?
What Brian in the group 7 said.
It's like a cliche now. So it's not me. I didn't make this up, but like it's been said for years. But someone said this to me once, that like those far left groups like Antifa, they read 1984 and instead of taking it as a warning, they took it as a blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's what they're doing now.
Yeah. And there's no conspiracy here. Like that's the thing. It's just assholes. Fuck conspiracies. These are just a group of assholes parading around as assholes, being assholes.
Yeah.
So let's get them to pucker up a bit. It's going to be awesome. Join us, won't you?
Yes.
That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. Look at Lachlan's face. He's like, I wonder if I want
I do enjoy this stuff. Again, I'll reiterate my concern from earlier. I'm
Can
not
I have a
smart
2-minute
enough to play along. I'm not smart enough to I'm not smart enough to keep up with you guys.
Oh, shut up.
Right?
You are true. It's not true at all.
When the
you know what?
Can
I say something?
Your
humility is getting fucking annoying. Your humility is getting a little annoying. I mean it.
Locke just wants to get a phone call when people start swinging. That's it. Just call me when there's
I'm also I'll tell you the other thing I am. I talk a big game, but I'm a loser when it comes to the I'm the first one out of the bar when there's a bar fight.
Like to fight or to run?
Oh, for sure. No, I'm running.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When the gloves drop, yeah.
Our biggest guy is running down the street.
In hockey, I was the worst fighter. I just to get my ass just beat. I was always getting my glasses broken. Now I'm like,
because I would stay and throw down.
Fighting,
like you should
I'm
just
pick
me up and throw me, and I'll just throw fists in the air.
Yeah, and it's always the little guy too. You got to fucking worry about. Now,
I'm a Joe. When someone says I'll fight you, I turn into Joe Pesci immediately. Like I'm just like,
oh, do you?
What kind of I have a temper, and then if someone wants to fight me, and I think I have a shot of maybe launching the top of my head into their chin, I'll fucking try to do it. I'll just.
It's the interesting part is I don't like fighting anymore either, like the physical fighting. And we'll end with this: is that I'm more like Locke than you in that regard, because to me it's like you see a fight happening, and I don't. In my mind, it's not, hey, how can I get involved? In my mind, it's like this is 3 hours of police reports. I don't have time for that.
That's a good point too.
The loss of time would prevent me from getting into a fight. That's it. I'm like,
officer, these three gentlemen attacked me unprovoked. I got
one pair of glasses. I got one pair, and I can't see shit without these fucking things. You know how many times I've been left with one pair of glasses because some fucker punched me in the melon? What? I hate getting punched in the head. I'm like seriously adverse to it. So when this starts flying, I'm like, you know what? Boys, you're on your own. I know that doesn't sound like a good friend thing to do, but I'll be in the car.
But I just got these glasses. Okay.
$500.
I had a friend. We got in a bar fight when I was like in my mid-20s, and my friend Dave bailed. And we see him after, and he's eating a burger. We met him at Burger King at like 2 a.m. I'm like, where'd you go? He goes, see these teeth, Dean? I just got my braces off.
See, I really like Barry. Barry and I would get along. I'd be at Burger King with him.
Yeah. Would you ever see these teeth, Dean? He says, I got to go. Anyway, that's it. You guys got to go. James D. Fiore at James D. Fiore on Twitter. Lachlan Cross at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. Rookie, my man Rookie, who didn't say a lot, but fuck, it was great to see you.
Too stupid.
Yeah,
his reactions are the best. I enjoy when Rookie has a comment with his face.
Yeah, you're like that little shit that does the video game commentary. You're just there.
And just on the fighting, surprisingly, nobody ever steps to me, so I get
yeah.
Well, that's because you're bigger than all of us. Like, you would kill us all. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Problem is that we're afraid of you.
I would say that, but my mouth generally attracts attention I don't want.
Same. But I'm looking forward to this one. Anyway, that's it. Lachlan Cross, James D. Fiore, Chris, have a great day, guys. Really appreciate you being here. Good to see you. Thanks, Karima. Thanks to everybody for being involved. Appreciate you being here. You can find us at deanblundell.com, where you can enjoy the things our partners have to offer you, like our guys at Domination. They're awesome. If you produce content and you want to make sure you can produce content quickly, easily, super simple, you don't want to have to pay for it, easy to do, go to dmntn.com and try them today for free. They're incredible. Ed's Fine Imports. A little burp. I drink some bubbly. Relax. Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch, number one in the market. The number one men's luxury underpant in the market is Gitch from Ed's Fine Imports. It's got the hammock in the front, boxer briefs, super comfortable, warm all day golf, incredible, breathable. All your stuff is separated from your legs. You'll love them. Get them from Ed. EdsFineImports.com. Gitch3 is your promo code to give you a free pair when you order 3. Our friends over at Blue Microphones. Hi, guys. We love you and we love your products. If you're a streamer, gamer, whatever, podcaster, Blue Yeti X is what we use. You can use it too, and really affordable, actually, to get great equipment from our friends at Blue, a Logitech group of companies. We use the Logitech cameras, but go to bluemic.com or at Blue Microphones on Twitter and check out everything they have. It's awesome. We love them. And they're the official supplier to deanblundell.com, all 75 of our podcasts. So we appreciate it. And we also want to say thanks to our friends at Easy Auto Financial, easyAutoFinancial.ca. These are great people, and they want to get you in a car. If you've got some subprime lending issues and you got a credit rating that's not the best, that's their sweet spot. They want to get you a car. They'll send you with that financing for free, by the way. You don't have to pay for it. And then you can go buy the car that you want. These guys are wonderful. easyAutoFinancial.ca. That's it for us. Sign up for our newsletter, deanblundell.com. I think that's it for me. I'm just going to hit the old extra here, and then we're gone. Bye.